Hey gals, sorry that the chat was so difficult. I ended up having way more lesson for Linda and I to get through with you than I had time, and then to have the technical difficulties I was having was driving me nuts. I just want to be sure that we communicate a few things, some important principles. This lesson is so important. I really believe the principles in it, the thoughts in this lesson are pivotal, or they can be. They certainly were for me. Forgiveness, how does it affect my eating? How does it affect how I flesh this out? The applying of the thin within principles. For me, and I can only speak to this, of course, but maybe it would be true for you. When I walk in ongoing forgiveness, when I keep short accounts, it does a lot of things. Not only is it obedient, and there's a blessing that comes from submitting to God's authority, but it also means that I'm not always on the edge of being triggered, being bugged. Let me explain what I mean. For instance, if a good friend of mine who I've known for years and years has just had a way over the years of doing things that kind of hurt me or wound me, or maybe there was even a massive betrayal in there somewhere. If I haven't dealt with the heartache that is involved in being friends with this person, if I haven't dealt with the individual challenges that I've had in my relationship with her, then it doesn't take a whole lot for her now to suddenly cause me to, woo, I blow up, I explode, okay? So if I have been wounded by her, if I have felt betrayal by her, and I haven't really processed it, but sort of swept it under the rug, then all she needs to do is say something that I can just interpret as yet more betrayal, yet more negativity or nastiness, and it's all right there at the surface. If I have really walked through the process of forgiveness for each and every infraction, if you will, and boundary violation, wounding that I've received from her, or it could be family members too, of course, then there's going to be a clean slate. And when she says something that could potentially wound me, it's not all right there being triggered from the past. I'm just here in the moment, and I can have a look at that. In fact, here's the thing. I have found when I have an out of proportion reaction to something that somebody does, it oftentimes is an indicator that I need to forgive. And here's the thing that's kind of tricky about this, is it doesn't have to be person specific. In fact, if I haven't kept forgiveness going for anybody and everybody in my life as best as I can, obviously we're human, then somebody not related to my friend, some situation that is totally divorced from that, has nothing to do with her, can still trigger all of these feelings of wounding and betrayal and disrespect, all of the things that I have felt from other people. When I am keeping current with my forgiveness, when I use my time with the Lord at least once a day, to kind of evaluate, where am I at with this? Is there anything fresh that I need to bring to you, Lord? Help me to feel that pain and then offer it to you, for you to cleanse, for you to put in perspective for me, for you to redeem. When I do that, then I'm not always so agitated and so ready to fly off the handle. Now, for me, and this is the connection directly, for me, when I am wounded or betrayed or emotionally just a mess, that's when I'm drawn to food. So if there's a tiny little thing, even the way somebody I don't know treats me, that triggers something that I haven't forgiven yet, maybe in a family member, but it makes me feel that same insignificance or same whatever it might be, that is when I'm going to be drawn to food. So when I'm keeping current with forgiveness, when I'm not allowing things to store up and fester, not only am I being obedient to the Lord, who says forgive as the Lord has forgiven you, but I'm also not always walking on the edge of that agitation that leads me to food. Okay, that's for those of us who are emotional eaters. Okay, so that's kind of the connection for me for forgiveness to my eating, and it's been huge to realize that. In fact, to the point where if my eating is off kilter, I have a really good sense that it's time to probably do a truth inventory and evaluate, is there something, someone, or plural, someones, that I need to forgive? And this kind of forgiveness isn't just the kind of, okay, so I forgive Daniel, my son, for all the things he's done recently. No, that's not the kind of that's kind of sanctified denial. Instead, I'm talking about really walking through it, journaling it, pouring it out to God, telling on him to God, telling on her to God. God knows it already, but he wants me to run to him with it. And then as I do that and feel that pain, that's why it takes courage. As I feel that pain and say, God, this hurts me, this makes me feel this way, then God has an opportunity to move into that space and to help me bring it to him and forgive it, because Christ paid the price on the cross. Christ died for that sin to be covered with his blood. So that for me is kind of the connection forgiveness has to my eating. When I walk in forgiveness, in ongoing forgiveness, doing the best I can to keep my records current, I am a lot less likely to be agitated or fly off the handle in a moment and run to food over that. Okay. Now there's several kinds of forgiveness, and we didn't go into all of them in our chat. The first one is I need to go to God and confess my own sin and to experience the blessing of his grace, his mercy poured out for me on the cross through his blood, and his forgiveness. And then I need to believe that. Not just confess my sin, but confess that it has been forgiven, and believe that, because that's a powerful gift, that when I don't walk in belief of that, I'm denying Christ the very thing that he paid for with his life, with his blood. We could go on about it. So number one, I need to experience the forgiveness from God for my own sin. The second kind of forgiveness that I need to experience is forgiveness of myself. If Christ can forgive it, certainly I can. The third thing I need to forgive, third expression of forgiveness, is forgiving others. And that's what I was talking about a moment ago. And again, because Christ has paid the price, it is incumbent upon me to choose to release that person to God to deal with. I'm holding myself captive when I don't choose to forgive. Okay. But there's a fourth kind of forgiveness, and I kind of hesitate to bring this up because it's like a Pandora's box. So, in fact, I think I'm going to save that for some other time. So anyway, forgiveness, it's connected to my eating because of all of the emotional stuff that goes with it. I can be emotionally charged in an instant if I haven't been forgiving. And I want to be sure that I experience the forgiveness of God for my own sin. I want to be sure that I forgive myself because he has. I want to be sure I forgive others. And a fourth kind of forgiveness yet to be named. Okay, well, I hope this brings home some of those things in the chat that maybe got lost or that we didn't get a chance to mention.